There are countries on this planet that have armies, governments, and millions of citizens, but legally, they don't exist. You can live your entire life there, work there, raise a family there, and still be told you are from nowhere. No passport, no recognition, no place at the table. They are locked out of the very system that decides who is real and who is not. And yet, they are more real than most countries you know. So how does a country exist without existing? And more importantly, who decides? Before we dive into the stories, we need to understand one thing. What does it actually mean to be a country? According to international law, a country only needs 4 things: a permanent population, a defined territory, a functioning government, and the ability to interact with other states. That's it. On paper, that's all it takes. But in reality, that's not enough. Because even if you meet every requirement, other countries still have to accept you. And that decision is almost never about law. It's about power. It's about influence. And sometimes it's about fear. Today, we're looking at 5 countries that passed every test and still got rejected. Look at this island. 23 million people, one of the most advanced economies on Earth. They manufacture the microchips that power your phone, your car, your entire digital life. They have elections, a military, a constitution. By every definition, Taiwan is a country. So why doesn't the world say it is? To understand that, you have to go back to 1949. China was in the middle of a civil war. When the communists won, the losing government fled to Taiwan. But both sides made the same claim: we are the real China. And that disagreement never ended. For years, Taiwan actually represented China at the United Nations, until 1971, when everything changed. The UN gave China's seat to Beijing. Taiwan was removed. And from that moment on, every country had to choose: recognize China or recognize Taiwan. Most chose China, because China is powerful, and Taiwan isn't powerful enough. Today, most of the world trades with Taiwan, depends on Taiwan, protects Taiwan, but officially, they pretend it doesn't exist. And that creates one of the most dangerous tensions on Earth. Because China has made one thing very clear: Taiwan will be unified, peacefully or by force. Now let's go somewhere else. A country born not from politics, but from war. In the 1990s, Yugoslavia collapsed, and in Kosovo, violence exploded. Entire villages were displaced, families were displaced, thousands were killed. The world watched, and eventually intervened. NATO launched airstrikes, Serbia withdrew, and Kosovo entered a strange state of existence. Not independent, but not part of Serbia either. For nearly a decade, it existed in limbo. Until 2008, Kosovo declared independence, and the world split in 2. Some countries recognized it immediately, others refused, and that divide still exists today. Kosovo functions like a country. It has a government, a population, borders, but it cannot join the United Nations, because one country can stop it: Russia, with a single veto. And that's the reality of recognition. It's not about who qualifies, it's about who has power. Then there's Palestine, a place where history, religion, and politics collide. This is not just a dispute, it's one of the most complex conflicts on Earth. After World War II, the land was divided. Israel was created. War followed immediately, and hundreds of thousands of Palestinians lost their homes. Since then, the situation has never stabilized. Territories have shifted. Control has changed. But one thing has remained constant: uncertainty. Here's what makes this case different. Over 140 countries recognize Palestine. That's the majority of the world. But the countries that don't hold the most power. And that power is enough to block Palestine from becoming a full member of the United Nations. So Palestine exists, recognized by many, but still unable to fully function as a sovereign state. Now here's something unexpected. A place doing everything right and still ignored. Somaliland. In 1991, as Somalia collapsed into chaos, Somaliland broke away. Since then, it has built stability. It holds elections, maintains order, runs its own government, peacefully. In a region known for conflict, it chose a different path, and succeeded. But there's one problem. Not a single country recognizes it. Not one. Because recognizing Somaliland could encourage other breakaway regions and destabilize entire continents. So the world looks at Somaliland, sees a functioning democracy, and still says, no. And then there's Transnistria, a place frozen in time. When the Soviet Union collapsed, this small region refused to move forward. It declared independence, fought a war, and then stopped. Today, it still operates like the Soviet Union never ended. Old symbols, old systems, old alliances. It has its own government, its own currency, its own passport. But none of it is recognized. And yet, people live there, work there, build lives there, in a country the world refuses to acknowledge. So, after all of this, you might be wondering, does recognition really matter? The answer is yes, because recognition unlocks everything. Trade, travel, diplomacy, power. Without it, you are invisible to the systems that run the modern world. And that invisibility comes at a cost. Because in the end, there is no neutral system deciding who is a country. There is only power. And power decides who gets to exist and who doesn't. Taiwan, Kosovo, Palestine, Somaliland, Transnistria. 5 places, millions of lives, all shaped by decisions made far beyond their borders. Because the world we see on the map is not the world that actually exists. And the truth is, some of the most important places on Earth are the ones you've never been told about. And there are places on this planet that no country officially owns. Not because they're empty, but because they're too valuable. And right now, powerful nations are quietly preparing to take them. That story is next.